Fellow Civ players, I welcome you to my channel here at the home of the Raffleness and the Masters. My name is Master Raffleness. I'll be your host. Oh, fuck that bullshit. I don't know. Anyway, so if you came here and you saw the title, you guys know that the Brave New World has been announced, the new expansion pack for Civilization 5, which is fucking incredible. It honestly is. I really didn't expect it to be called Brave New World. I thought it was just going to be called New World, but I guess they changed the name because I don't know, I guess it fit with the whole, like, they're gonna restructure Civilization 5 and stuff like that. I don't fucking know. But anyway, so now we have the first details of this expansion pack. And right now it's looking pretty damn impressive right now. I'm looking at all of the different websites from Civ Fanatics, Rock Paper Shotgun, IGN right now about all that's being shown to us right now at this point. So here we go. A quick rundown, and then I'm going to kind of really go by like each topic. Like I'm going to go a little bit in depth with every single topic that I just talked about. So here we go. 9 new civilizations, which include Poland. I'll get to that in a second. And also a yellowish civilization, which was shown on a screenshot, but no one really knows what it is per se. There was kind of like a siege tower that the civilization was using, so it could be, as people have speculated, the Assyrians or the Hittites, but who knows really. New wonders like the Broadway, the Ibiza Gallery, Parthenon, and a new form of economic trade that we have been dying for, which are international trade routes. I remember back in Civilization 4 where you could trade with other cities, but they've done it in a more different way. I'll explain later. A more complex diplomacy, which will involve World Congress. And if you guys remember the Apostolic Palace, you'll remember this. And the old UN Congress the UN in Civilization 4. There's also going to be a more different policy system and ideology system, but I'll get more into that in a second. They're going to change around how cultural victories work, where instead of having little cities and just basically becoming India and acting like an asshole to everybody else, nuking them in the end, and then using your super powerful 3-city empire to kind of win the culture game, they're going to make it a little bit more offensive. Cities in the same civ can share food, production, and even more with internal trade routes. There's internal and external trade routes. I'll get to that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I know I'm doing a lot of info at you, but I will get to that. And on top of that, they're going to change how great artists are really structured. Now there's not only great artists, but great writers, artists, and great musicians, which increase tourism, which is another system that they're adding into the game. Archaeology will be in the game as well. And near the end of the game, as I said before in the a couple of seconds ago, there's going to be an ideology system, which will change how we play towards the end game of the game. So right, first the civilizations. First off, fuck yes, we finally have Poland. Oh my god. I have been waiting for Poland for so long. I remember Civ 4. Poland never came out, so we had to mod it, and then people modded Civ 4, and they got Poland, and finally we were able to play as Poland. And in Civ 5 we didn't get Poland, so it's kind of a dick slap in the face, but then we finally have Poland now thanks to this expansion pack. Oh my god, hallelujah. Hallelujah. No word on the Zulu yet, which I'm dying to play, but you can't ask for them all. So right now the Polish have a unique unit called the Winged Hussar. We don't really know how that's going to work out yet, but I'm sure they're going to detail a little bit about what the Winged Hussar really does. Probably going to have a little bit more damage than cavalry, regular cavalry units, and maybe a little bit more movement speed, but I don't know. The unique ability of the Polish will be that they get a free social policy when entering an era. So basically, when they're entering classical era, they'll get one social policy. Cultural social policy, not ideology, but I'll get to that in a second. And when they go from cultural to medieval, one social policy, medieval to Renaissance, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they're pretty good. That's a pretty good unique ability, to be honest. It's better than the Ottomans. New wonders, Broadway, Ibiza Gallery, Parthenon. They really didn't talk about honestly how these different wonders would actually interact, or how, you know, how they would work out, to be honest. Like, they didn't really give us the specific details on them, but they're going to be in the game. They're most likely going to be only cultural. However, I do believe that maybe Broadway could give us free. No, that wouldn't work. Never mind. I'm just being stupid. But I do believe that Broadway, Invisible Gallery, and Parthenon all kind of correlate to what tourism is in this game, which is a new system. So maybe they like increase the power of your cultural tourism and blah blah blah, and your culture overall. But hey, we don't know yet. Now I'm gonna now explain trade routes. So they pretty much added in this new system called trade routes, and basically it's not how it was in Civ 4 where you could basically just like plop up a fucking city, get a bunch of fucktards and go like, hey, I want to trade with you, and then it's automatically trading throughout the world, and you build a stupid customs house that takes like 20 turns, and that gives you like $1, I mean 1 gold extra for every trade route. And you're just like, oh, it's worth it, and then Spain conquers that city, and you're like, oh. But yeah, it's not going to be like that. In fact, it's going to be more organic and constructible, to be honest. You're going to have to build your own trade route, and you're going to have to link that up with another city. Will that be just like the roads in Civ 5? Like, you know, connecting cities through roads? I don't know, really, to be honest. They didn't really explain that. I presume it is roads, but we don't know. We don't know. It's probably like maybe a highlight or something. Maybe it is a road, but it takes a little bit quicker to build than what an actual road in Civ 5 takes. Now, these are going to be buildable trade routes, and you're going to link them up with other civilization cities or your own cities. Now, when you now there's two types of trade routes. There's internal and external. External is going from your own cities to another civilization cities, trading in gold between each other through units called caravans. Yes, caravans. I said it. Caravans. You have to trade with every different civilizations and different sections of your empire using caravans. Fucking camels. Fuck you, Arabia. And I do believe there's a trade ship for sea routes. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So basically, you trade gold and blah 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 with your little camel armies. And also, while you're trading, a little trinkle of your religion goes into the civilization you're trading with. So you can effectively spread your religion. And you can also gain a little bit of their science. Seems pretty cool. Unless it's kind of benefiting the other guy. Like, as in, if you link up your one lonely city that's on the outskirts of your empire to a holy city, you're going to, you know, get religious conversion up the wazoo by the other guy's religion, and then you're going to get fucked. But yeah, it's a pretty cool system. You can spread your religion more organically, to be honest. Like, before in the past, it was all done through missionaries and gods and kings, which is an okay system, I have to admit. But a lot of the world's religions have spread through trade, and trade is really a very important thing in people's lives and in how religion is formed in our history. I mean, religions were spread through trade. I mean, some would argue they were spread through the way of the sword, and yes, sometimes, but most of the time, I do believe it was through trade. Or trading with a sword on your head. That seems more appropriate. Whatever, I'm not in a religious discussion. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway. So yeah, that's what you do. And then internal trade routes throughout different portions of your empire can link up one city with another to give one city extra food, extra production, and extra gold. Yes, that is sick. So let's say you started up building a city, you know, in the outskirts of your empire, and it's not doing too well. There's not a lot of food. There's a lot of production and gold, but there's not a lot of food. So you take one that's very abundant in food, link it up with that city that's struggling, and then it gains extra food. This could really solve a lot of problems that people face when starting off in Civ 5. And these trade routes will be available to you as soon as the game starts, and as you progress, you'll be able to unlock more and more trade routes as you go on. The developer said in an interview with Rock Paper Shotgun that you would be able to get 7 to 8 trade routes. Hold on, let me double check on that. It could be very well something else. Gonna smell my hands because I just licked my asshole. Yeah, 7 to 8 trade routes. Essentially. They also took out the free gold that you get when you place a city on a seacoast or river, which means you're gonna have to emphasize on these trade routes a lot. A ton, actually. Now, it also says that these caravans, because they're actual units, they need to be protected, which means this allows people to raid enemy trade routes. Or for enemies to raid your trade routes, which is extremely awesome. Oh my god. That's so cool. It just adds a new dynamic to Civ 5, where instead of fighting your enemy directly, conquering their cities, or like raiding their lands and destroying their improvements and being an asshole, instead you can just disrupt their trade, destroying the caravans, or, you know, sea caravans, I guess, sea camels, and hindering them, destroying them, basically. Incredible. It's just fucking incredible. This isn't going to be a UI screen, by the way. It's not going to be something like this diplomacy screen where you can just pull up. So keep that in mind as well. Next thing would be the diplomacy. Now, they've added in a new diplomacy system where it's like the UN and the Apostolic Palace in Civ 4. Where basically you and a bunch of civs meet together every so amount of turns and discuss issues. You can, you know, stop the spread of nuclear weapons, impose a trade embargo on a city, I mean civilization, declare war on a civilization, like all of you guys, blah blah blah. So it's pretty cool because honestly it makes so that when civs are just out of control and conquering everyone, that there's a way to stop them, and also so that it brings a new, you know, sort of edge to the diplomacy system. Like the diplomacy system in Civ has always been lacking, to be honest, compared to Civ 4. But with this, you know, UN system, UN-esque system, the World Congress, it really does help out, bring a more in-depth look into how diplomacy works in Civ 5. That way you can know who your true allies are, conquer your enemies much easier, much more quicker, and also just, like, change the world so that it benefits you. Like, oh, you're lacking in production, so you can't spam nuclear weapons to bomb the fuck out of India? Go ahead and try to push for nuclear weapon ban. It's pretty cool. It's not going to be your exact leader, though, if you guys were thinking about that, but it's going to be a certain number of delegates. And you can only vote on 2 policies per session. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And really think about which one policy you want to put into place. Now then, what else would that be? Right, so archaeology is also going to be in the game. It's basically going to be kind of like this. So, let's say you fought some barbarians at 400 BC. 2,000 years, oh wait, no, 200 turns later, okay. You take your archaeologists and you go back to that place, you uncover some hidden data, and that gives you more culture. So basically, you're basically using old battles and old achievements of your civilization when you first started the game, and using them, kind of like reusing the area to give you more culture and to give you more tourism. That way you can have an edge in the culture game, and obviously over your enemy cities and civilizations. Now, I know you guys are waiting for this, but what is tourism? Right, so tourism is a new system which they added to deepen the culture game of this game, which basically is kind of like an offensive culture game, essentially. So let's say you are X civilization, and there's Y civilization. Now, Y civilization is doing pretty well scientifically and militarily, but are lacking in culture, whereas you have tons of culture. You use your great musicians, great artists, great writers, archaeology sites that you found, wonders, blah, 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 etc., 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 to strengthen your culture game. Now, because of trade routes and just the overall spread of your culture is going to be heard about to different civilizations and stuff. Attracting tourists, people who want to go to your civilization, giving you wealth. but also causing internal strife in the civilizations that those tourists are coming from. Because basically they're gonna go like, oh, why is your culture so bad? Oh, why are we so barbaric? Oh, why is our government like this? And it could really destroy and hamper a civilization's progress throughout the game. Alternatively, they could just build a bunch of coliseums, but that takes a lot of fucking work, man. So yeah, that's basically what tourism is in a nutshell, really. It can also be spread through trade routes, like I said before. And really, it really only happens once archaeology really sets up. Like tourism will happen later on in the game, and archaeology, the archaeology system I was talking about, will only really happen later on in the game. However, trade routes will happen early on in the game, and then next comes the new system, another new system. God, there's a ton of these that they've implemented called ideologies, which will be later on in the game, which you basically choose between freedom, autocracy, and order, but in a different way. Instead of doing the social policy system, they have it so it's another screen within that screen. Or it's just a completely different screen. I don't fucking know. I'm not making an Inception reference. Please. I'm sorry. The ideology system will be like this. You're X civilization, and you're going for freedom. When you go to freedom, you adopt it, and then there's 3 tiers of freedom you can go down. There's first tier, second tier, third tier, making you more freedom-esque and blah blah blah. Then same with order and autocracy, and you use those to benefit your civilization in however you fucking want and desire. Now, because of this will put civilizations at war with each other most of the time because like you have a different ideology and blah blah blah. So it's kind of like Gods and Kings before, where in Gods and Kings, if you were order and someone was autocracy, people would fight over each other, blah blah blah. And if you were order and order, you would be friends with one another, blah blah blah. But they've added it so that now it affects people more. Like let's say people are going to a freedom-esque society where there's a lot of freedom and stuff, then they're going to protest in your country saying, why can't we have more freedom? And it's up to the autocratic or order guys to kind of like, build a lot of coliseums, not give a fuck, or change to suit their civilization. It's kind of like a mini revolution. In fact, it is a revolution in your city, if this so happens. And you're going to have to react fairly quickly to the needs of your city, of your civilization. Ignoring them won't really help you out in the end because of the fact that there's probably so much unhappiness that you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And I guess vice versa for order and freedom as well. If an order guy has a ton more culture and stability and economic growth and blah blah blah, or people in your civilization just like order better, and the tourism in order is a lot better as well, then people in the freedom country are just gonna go like, oh, why don't we have more order in our society? Why don't we have more culture? Blah blah blah. So that's pretty much what could also happen in the that scenario. Now, I have talked a lot about the different features in this game, and my thoughts on it is it's pretty good. It's pretty excellent. I like it. I love it a lot. But at the same time, I'm not thoroughly impressed because of the fact that they don't have the world map yet. And I know I've been bitching about this a lot, but guys, come on, world map. Can we just get that so I don't have to scout out the entire area to find out where Zulu is? Even though Zulu's not going to happen. I do like the fact that they're adding in Poland. I like the fact that they're adding in trade routes because that was severely lacking in Civ 5. And I like the fact that they're bringing back the UN and the Apostolic Palace. Now, as for any recommendations I would have to say about this expansion pack, I would say that they have to really balance out how the ideologies work with one another to make it so that it's still fun. It's going to be fun regardless. I don't know what I was saying with that one. But make it so that it's easy to get into. With trade routes, I hope that caravans aren't super expensive. Because if you lose one, it could potentially mean that's the end of your game. Or to have it so that when you're trading with a civilization and then they immediately go to war with you, but you have a trade route with them, that the caravans be given some sort of immunity. But then again, I guess the random nature of Civ is always the better part of Civ. And I also would like a recommendation for, please bring back the Zulu, please. My God, please. But that's about it. But that's about it, really. I love how they're adding in tourism as well. I just love it all around. I really want world map, but I know it's not gonna happen. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this. I will make a let's play of this expansion pack as soon as it comes out. In time, if you guys really want Civ 5 content, I have it on my channel. Blah blah blah. Suck my dick. Peace out. Bye.